Triff, what's your recommendation?
So my recommendation is that when you're choosing a deck you want to play, you should always subscribe to MST TV, baby!
Hey guys, it's Tom Bucks, and I know Charlotte's been a week ago, and I haven't really shared with you guys my deck list, how I did and everything. So overall, how I finished 56 overall. Still decent enough, I would say. Made day 2, but did not make the top 32. So close, next time we'll get him. And the deck that I played is going to be Tenyi Brave, Brave Tenyi, whatever you guys want to call it. For a deck that doesn't play DPE, for a deck that doesn't do scythe locking, it is incredibly powerful and incredibly fun. If you guys like insane combos that can just push through hand traps and stuff like that, this is the deck for you. It has been so much fun, and I'm going to share with you guys the combo lines. I'm going to quickly go through the deck list and the things I've changed, but then the combos is where it's at. That's the meat of the video. You guys definitely don't want to miss out. So make sure you guys smash the thumbs up button, hit subscribe, ding notification bell, and let's go. Firstly, I want to give a shout out to Distant Coder for giving me this awesome field center. Man, this is some top quality stuff here. Man, beautiful. Just look at this thing. Yeah, all right. But other shoutouts I want to give out would be Team Samurai X1. Sam, thanks for, grouping us all together. Triff, thanks for helping me build this deck as well. Although I wish I had the token collector, but still, because of your building ratio and you were an awesome testing partner, definitely helped me out. So for sure, I loved it. And shoutouts to Triff, of course, and everyone else that I've met over the entire event, especially all those tubers, streamers. You guys are awesome. Had a really fantastic time. Anyways, let's get into this deck build. I'm just gonna go through it really quickly, engine to engine, because it's just easier to explain it that way without going into too much detail. Road Dragon engine, we want to see Road Dragon in a 7 90% of the time, because Road Dragon in a 7 means you have game. You will kill your opponent through most things, and if you build a board, it's very hard for them to stop as well. They need double hand trap at the very least to have a chance to play. And it needs to be a good one, because if it's not a removal one, you're gonna play right through it. So that's triple Rose Dragon, so they can summon to Rock's Roast and Basil or Shoot. Next, we're gonna go into the Brave engine. There's not too much to explain here. The only thing that you guys should pay attention to is the Double Griffin. Double Griffin is probably one of the most important things out there because it's a 7 and it's also your negate. So right plus Griffin, right chain Griffin, you automatically have a negate right away from the get-go. Triple Water Enchantress, nothing to explain there. Triple right, that's pretty good too. And then we go Faithful Adventure. One to side out, and then the other is so that you have a grind game. And you don't mind opening this, you just want to see a 7 because 7 is a free summon. And unlike Water Enchantress, Water Enchantress could provide you with perhaps the body of the token, but if you want a 7, you get to make the choice of whether you want a 7 or a 4, and 1 Draco back. And as for the Sword Soul package, I do have a little bit of a change here. Sword Soul, there's only 3 Sword Soul cards in this entire deck. We have 1 Taya, 1 copy of Longyan, and 1 Blackout. I used to play Moye. Moye has been cut because it's just a win more card in my opinion, and opening Moye is a brick because you want to play with your Brave engine, you want to play with your Synchros, you want to play with your tuners. You don't want to go in that direction. Blackout, you banish it as summon token so that if you have when you synchro into Chixiao, you banish this, you also get to send a Ashina into the graveyard. That gives you an additional synchro 10. That's kind of the rundown of that. That's why you have to banish this card. It's really important that you do when you have that opportunity. Or you can go long and get that burn for game. Next, we have the actual Tenyi package. We have Triple Adhara. Yeah, this one's a free summon synchro. 2 copies of each Vishuda and Ashina. Why not just max these cards out? Because I don't want a handful of Tenyi monsters. Having a handful of Tenyi monsters through testing was actually pretty bad. You can't really win games with them because you're not a Sword Soul deck. And we have Triple Vessel. This is how you dump them into the graveyard. You just want them in the graveyard, especially Ashina. If Ashina's in the graveyard, you can set up the really hardcore board. Now, this is the part that's a little bit different. Only one of these cards I actually played, which is Despot, because it's mandatory part of the Aurora Dawn combo. And then we have Snow. I didn't play this, I sided this, and I didn't play this, which I completely regret in the long run, but now they're back into the deck because there's just other things you can throw into the graveyard. Snow would have been really, really useful, made some games a lot easier. Call by the Grave is Call by the Grave, it's just Call by the Grave. And moving on, hand trap wise, we have a big change in terms of hand traps. First of all, we're playing Triple Ash, that part's the same. We played basically 4 sets of hand traps in full sets. So we have Triple Ash. The card that I took out is Nibiru because I find it very hard to Nibiru anyone that's playing Despia. So I switched it over to playing Ghost Bell instead. Ghost Bell has been fantastic to shut down a lot of these plays. Although sometimes it does get chain blocked a little bit, but Ghost Bell overall is just really, really good. I cut down Effect Veiler from 3 to 2 because The problem right now is if they go branded opening, I can't even hit the thing with a Veiler. You can't, because this is main phase only, and because of this main phase only clause, it does screw me over from time to time, which is why I cut it down. And I'd rather play Ghost Belt anyway, because it's level 3, so I can synchro into something a bit more useful. But it's still a tuner nonetheless, so I can't really complain. But it's still very, very useful for like Vertanaconda. I try to hold it as much as I can now. We have Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre, I kind of cut it down. It's mainly for Brave Engine, but some people just aren't playing Brave, so I kind of just retuned my ratio, and I now main deck the Token Collector because I summon out the Shooting Riser a lot more often. Extra deck wise, we have double Monk of Tenyi. You don't really need to play 2. I've only really needed to summon only one game throughout the entire YCS. I needed to drop a second one, and that's like a handful of Swordsful cards. I still ended up losing anyway, so that was no good. Double Hulk. One Hulk is for Rose Dragon. The second Hulk is actually for the Despot play. That's why you play both. You don't need to go into Auroradon. Only one of them would actually get there. The other would just need a Rose Dragon to actually do a full combo. And synchroing into the 7 is what really gets you the win. For some of our most important synchro monsters, we have one Shooting Riser, one Herald of the Arclight, and one Formula. These two can come out from Christian Hulk, and leaving a Hulk on board is really good because you get to use a synchro effect here, and the synchro effect is just really what really wins the game here. So this is of course more tuned to synchroing into the 10s, sometimes an 8, but sometimes even a 7. Sometimes I wish I had a Black Rose, but in any case, these are some of the best ones here. And this is, if you have Ashina, you can put this on board very, very easily during your Auroradon combo. And then you can just do the whole combo anyway. The generic 8, because it's also a worm, because you typically get worm locked from some time to time. And for the rest of the 8s, I guess that's it. These are the 8s. And this is just mainly for removal. I have barely summoned this card, but it came up once where I did win the game by blasting away DPE, so that was okay. This is mainly just to get yourself an additional negate, but really it's just like board presence threat. And Yazi with the most important Synchro 7 to get you a full combo board, and for the rest of them, they're just 10s. We have Chen Yang, we have Long Yan, and we have Baron. That's really it. Negate. For game 1, I would go into this. This is great removal for Adventure Package, especially when they leave their cards face up. They can also take out like Prank Kids when they feel like activate their cards to search or whatever. It's just really overall a really good card for like Spell Trap removal, and this is like a responsive Spell Trap removal. So that kind of runs down the entire deck. Before we combo off, I'm gonna give you guys a bit of a sneak peek on one of our upcoming items on MSTmerch.com. These are the Midnight Purple sleeves. You guys have been asking for them for some time now. You guys were trying to predict the next color, and you guys were like, it's got to be purple, and you guys are right. You guys were purple. You guys are like psychics or something. So this is what it looks like. It's not available on the store yet, but it will be available very, very soon. So, you know, save the dates, I guess, if I'm gonna give you guys a date. But yeah, just keep in mind, this is of course the oversleeve protecting it as well. And, you guys can get like oversleeve to protect any of your Yu-Gi-Oh size sleeves as well. So these are pretty awesome. You can find them at MST Merch. This one's not available yet, but when it is, I'll definitely make an announcement for you guys. Yeah, it's like so beautiful. And of course, we go for the interior white backing, so you know it's kind of iconic to us. And yeah, you know what? Let's go to the combo. Alright, here we go. Basic combo. This is the 7-3. Bonus points if it's an Ashina. Let's see if we can do this under like 5 minutes so we don't get called for slow play. Activate Ashina, special summon. And then we're going to normal summon Red Rose Dragon. We're going to perform a Synchro summon straight into Baron. Activate the effect of the Red Rose Dragon. That's going to special summon out a Rocks Rose Dragon. Activate the effect of the Rocks Rose Dragon. Add the Basil Rose Shoot. As you can see, you're already protected from any sort of negation hand trap, but this would still be a very deadly thing they can do to you if they have double hand trap. Activate Basil Rose Shoot, special summon out the Red Rose Dragon, and then perform a link summon into Crystron Halqifibrax. Activate Crystron Halqifibrax. In this particular line, we are going into the Despot into Auroradon combo, so we're going to special summon out the Despot 01, and now we're going to perform another link summon into Mega Phantom Beast Auroradon, which will now trigger the Auroradon, summon out the triple token, so 1, 2, and 3. That's going to trigger the Despot 01. Despot 01 is going to special summon itself onto the board. Now, here's the part that starts to deviate because people don't know how to maintain their board state. If you have, say, no Ashina, but you have the Despot, and no Ashina means that you're going to have to use this Despot to go into a Yazi. But if you do have an Ashina, that's where the play changes. The play will change into this. So you're going to synchro into a 4. Alright, I'm going to show you guys what you're going to end with anyway. You're going to synchro into a 4, and the 4 is going to be going into our other negate, which is going to be Herald of the Arclight. Now you can banish your Ashina, summon out your Adhara, and you can just basically do the combo with double Omni Negates. And this is just going to be pretty disgusting against anybody, because now you're going to perform a Synchro 7. Alright, and Synchro 7, we're going to best Yang Zing Yazi. Activate Baron's effect, pop the Yazi's effect. Summon out Taya. Taya now needs an effect. We're going to banish the Yazi. Alright, summon out the token. Oh, don't make a mess here. Summon out the token. Don't immediately synchro off. Activate the Adhara. Get back the Ashina into your hand, so that now you have this for your hand. You know, D-Berry would be very nice. Side note, I'm actually main decking D-Berry right now because it's just kind of fun. I want to test it out, see if it's worth it. But side note here, moving on, now we can perform our Synchro Summon. So now when we Synchro into our 8, remember, this is on the field, so things are getting banished. If we're going to Synchro into an 8, we're going to go into our Chixiao. We're going to activate the effect of Chixiao, and then we're also going to activate Taya. Only monsters get banished, so we're just going to toss into the graveyard a Blackout. Unless, of course, you have another Adhara, you're ready to add stuff back. But in this case, I'm going to put a Blackout so I can generate a token. And this one, we're going to add a Longyan into our hand. And from here, we can activate the Longyan, banish this because it's coming from our hand, because this is still on board. Summon this, generate the token. And we're going to proceed to a Synchro Summon into a 10, which could usually, for me, it's going to start off with this one instead. But if we're expecting DPE, just go for Chen Ying right away, because Chen Ying is like, just wins against like DPE every time. So this is kind of the end board here. And you also burn your opponent for 12. So in this alternate timeline, my camera is a little bit smaller, and also this is now no longer an Ashina, but it's a Vashuda. If it's a Vashuda, you're still in the good. If it's anything else, then you're going to end on a smaller board. So in this case, you take the death spot and you synchro these two off, so that now you immediately go for a 7. So that goes into a Yazi, alright? You have the token live on the board, so let's just flip this over so you can know that, yeah, you have a token that's already live, so that all your 10 Yi monsters that you put into the graveyard is going to be activatable. So we're going to activate the Baron. Baron's going to pop the Yazi. Yazi's going to summon out the Taya. And from here, because it's a Vashuda, you should probably just banish the Vashuda so that you can add it back to your hand. We're going to activate Taya's effect. We're going to generate another token onto the field. And from here, that's where we're going to perform another Synchro Summon. And we're going to go back into our Chixiao. Chainlink 1, Chixiao, Chainlink 2, Taya. Taya is going to be very important. We're going to throw an Adhara into the graveyard. Okay? And we're going to also get ourselves a Longyan Search. Next, because we have the token, we can activate the Adhara. We can add the Vashuda back into our hand. And we're going to activate the Longyan, ditch the Vashuda, summon back the Longyan, and that's going to generate ourselves a Synchro Tuner. This is 3, this is 4. You can actually just perform a Synchro Summon right here. It's actually perfectly fine, and we're not worm locked right now, so when we perform the Synchro Summon, we go into Shooting Riser Dragon. Alright? You have multiple options here. You can turn this into a 3 or 4. I prefer turning this into a 4 so I can use the Longyan. So what we're going to do is either we throw away a Token Collector or a Snow if you want to turn this into a 3. I'm not about that, so instead I'm going to throw into the graveyard a copy of Water Enchantress so that I have a follow-up next turn. And on top of that, since this is now a 4 plus 6 makes a 10. You can wait on your opponent's turn to do this as well, but you can also just straight up just do it. You can put another 10 on board. So that's why this is still really good. And so next we have the Brave Engine combo. Overall, this is one of the strongest combo for the deck, and it starts off by requiring you 1 free special summon. It could be a 10 Yi monster or Water Enchantress, which is why we run 3. We have 1 normal summonable tuner, and we have 1 right. We don't even have a single worm here, but we're still going to end on a worm board, and I'm going to show you guys how we're going to do that. So we're going to start off by the right. Right's effect, we're going to summon out the token, and we're going to put the Fateful Adventure onto the field. Alright, these are our 2 dud cards in our hand. We're going to activate the special summon. So we're going to special summon out the Water Enchantress, and that's going to trigger the Fateful Adventure, getting ourselves a Draco back. Next, we're going to activate the Fateful Adventure. Alright, and with the Fateful Adventure, we're going to grab the Griffin Rider, and we're going to toss away a card that is not Draco back, unless Draco back is literally the worst card and you have way better cards in your hand. We're going to toss away one of these D barriers. And in any case, we're going to activate the Griffin Rider, special summon the Griffin Rider, and now we're going to finally normal summon out our tuner. We're going to proceed to Link Summon into Christian Hauck. Crystal Hulk's effect, we're going to summon out our Red Rose Dragon. Everything seems pretty self-explanatory so far. We're going to proceed to Synchro Summon with the Griffin Rider, going into our Baron. That's going to trigger the Red Rose Dragon. Alright, Red Rose Dragon is going to activate, and that's going to summon out Rox Rose Dragon, and Rox Rose Dragon's effect is going to get us Basil Rose Shoot. So far, this is our hand. Alright, and we have gotten there without going into Auroradon, which is why we play the second Hulk, right? Second Hulk can go into Auroradon and still do more damage, go into other monsters as well. Now we're going to proceed to Synchro Summon with the token, and that's going to give us the Yazi. So we don't really have any worms in the graveyard, but we're going to activate Baron's effect, and we're going to pop the Yazi. It's going to summon out Taya. Now we have a worm in the graveyard. Taya's been summoned out from the deck. We're going to activate Taya's effect. We're going to banish the Yazi. And in this particular part of the combo, I have to say, if you have 10 Yi monsters in here, this is where you start to proc a lot of those guys and get a bigger board. That's all I'm saying here. If you need a deviation, that's what it would look like. But in this case, we didn't have that. So we're going to banish the Yazi, summon out the token. And from here, we're just going to immediately just Synchro Summon into our Chixiao. So there's a lot of benefits to this, alright? So technically there's still like 1, 2, 3 disruptions already thanks to Hulk being on board, but we actually have stuff to do here. We're going to activate Chixiao and we're going to chain the Taya, so Taya chainlink 2. We're going to throw Ashuna into the graveyard, and for Chixiao we're going to banish the Blackout. Banishing Blackout will immediately generate us a token, and that's going to make the Ashuna live. So we're going to put this token in defense mode. And next, we're going to activate Ashuna, but when we activate Ashuna, we're going to chain the Basil Rose Shoot. This is important if you chain the Basil Rose Shoot, otherwise you're going to be worm locked, because we're going to do this before the worm lock. So we're going to chain the Basil Rose Shoot, summon back, say, I don't know, a Red Rose Dragon or whatever, and now we're going to resolve the rest of the Ashuna, summon out a Vishuda. This provides us with another Synchro 10, so this is going to give us a very useful Chen-Ying. I prefer Chen-Ying on the first one first over the Longyan Synchro, because if I'm going to be using the Hulk during my opponent's turn, oh, and by the way, we're going to activate that Draco back, and Draco back is going to be equipped to the token so that the Faithful Avenger will protect it. So what's going to happen here is simple. You're going to activate, say, Chixiao's effect first, and then you're going to negate an effect, and then you're probably going to get a banish out of this. Even if you don't use the banish, there's something else you can do. You can hold off the banish in case something's useless, but what you can do is you can activate Hulk's effect. Yes, you're locked into only summoning out Synchro monsters, but guess what? Hulk summons out Synchro monsters anyway, so that you can provide yourself with an additional draw right here. And then you can Synchro this off into the Longyan. That way, you can still like proc a banish and proc a second banish. So that's kind of how I would work this out. So you'll be like 1, 2, still getting yourself about three levels of disruption. Pretty strong, I would say. And that's all I got for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed my Brave Tenyi profile / combo tutorial, kind of giving you guys a gist of what I did to people at YCS, this is the deck. Hopefully you guys will give it a try, especially if you don't like playing DP or you don't own DP but you have like Sword Soul stuff, but Sword Soul's getting kind of boring, you want to mix it up. This is probably the deck for you. It's really, really fun, and I definitely enjoy it a lot. So if you guys enjoyed this video, smash that thumbs up button. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, hit the subscribe, ding that notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next one.